He left this street as a broken kid, with nothing. Decades later, Ozzy Osbourne came back, and what he saw stopped the entire neighborhood cold. Asterisk. Before we begin, please take 1 second to subscribe to the channel, Voices of Darkness, like this video, and share it with your friends, especially those who believe legends are born from pain. Asterisk. The day Ozzy Osbourne returned to his childhood street, what he saw left everyone speechless. The car slowed down long before it reached the corner, not because of traffic, not because of cameras, but because the man sitting in the back seat suddenly stopped breathing properly. Ozzy Osbourne stared through the window, his round glasses slightly fogged, his hands trembling in a way they hadn't even during his wildest stage performances. "This is it," he whispered, his voice cracked, not from age, but from memory. The driver didn't say a word, because some places don't need directions. They find you. A street that never forgot him. The street looked smaller. It always does. Brick houses lined both sides, their paint cracked and tired, like old men who had worked too many years without rest. The road was uneven, patched and repatched, holding the scars of time just like the people who lived there. This was Aston, Birmingham. This was where the story began. Ozzy hadn't been back in decades. Not properly. Not like this. Not alone with his thoughts. This was the street where a shy, awkward boy named John Michael Osbourne grew up. A boy who stuttered, who struggled in school, who was told again and again that he would never amount to anything. A boy who used to sit on these very steps with his head in his hands, wondering why the world felt so heavy so early. The car stopped. Ozzy didn't move. He just stared. "The house that held all the screams there," he finally said, pointing with a shaky finger. The house stood at the end of the row. Small, narrow, suffocating. The front door was painted a dull brown now. The windows were newer. Someone had tried to make it look alive again. But Ozzy saw past that. He saw the nights his family crowded inside, cold and hungry. He heard the arguments, the shouting, the crying. He remembered sleeping in a tiny room with his siblings, listening to his own thoughts echo louder than the noise outside. This was the house where he learned fear, but also where he learned survival. He opened the car door. The moment his foot touched the pavement, time folded in on itself. The boy the street laughed at as Ozzy stepped out. A small group of locals noticed him. At first, they squinted, then whispered, then froze. "Is that? No way, it can't be him." Ozzy ignored them, because in his mind, he wasn't a rock legend standing on a street. He was 12 again, walking home with his shoulders hunched, bullies calling him names, teachers shaking their heads. "John, you're slow. John, you'll never pass. John, you're useless." Those words stayed longer than any tattoo. Music had been his only escape. The radio, the sound, the feeling that somewhere, somehow, there was a world bigger than this street. But back then, nobody here believed in that boy. Nobody. Except one person, the old woman at the window. As Ozzy stood frozen, a curtain moved in one of the houses across the street. An elderly woman stepped outside, leaning heavily on a cane. She stared at him for a long moment. Then her eyes widened. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Johnny." Ozzy turned, his breath caught in his throat. "Mrs. Hargreaves," he said softly. She dropped her cane. People rushed to help her, but she waved them away, walking toward him with tears already streaming down her wrinkled face. "It's really you," she cried. "I knew you'd come back one day." Ozzy swallowed hard. She had been his neighbor, the only adult who had ever defended him. When others mocked him, she told him he was special. When he felt invisible, she told him the world just hadn't caught up yet. "You used to sit on my steps," she said, touching his arm, "singing to yourself, dreaming." Ozzy couldn't speak, because legends don't cry on stage, but broken boys never stop crying inside. The crowd grows silent, word spread fast, doors opened, phones came out, people gathered, but something strange happened. No one shouted, no one screamed, no one asked for selfies. They just watched, because this wasn't Ozzy Osbourne, the rock god. This was Ozzy Osbourne, the survivor. He walked slowly down the street, stopping at each house like he was reading invisible gravestones. This is where, and here, memories hit him like waves. The day he went to jail, the shame on his father's face, the moment he thought his life was over, and then music, Black Sabbath, the sound that changed everything. But success didn't erase pain, it just gave it a microphone. The thing that stopped him cold. Then Ozzy stopped walking, dead still. Everyone followed his gaze. At the end of the street stood a small mural painted on a brick wall. It hadn't been there before. It showed a young boy sitting on steps, holding a radio. Above him, written in faded white letters, "From this street, a legend was born." Ozzy's knees buckled. He dropped to the ground. The crowd gasped. Mrs. Hargreaves knelt beside him as he covered his face with his hands, sobbing openly. "I didn't know," he choked. "I never knew." A local man stepped forward. "We painted it," he said quietly, "for the kids, to show them that even from here, even from nothing, someone made it." Ozzy looked up, tears streaking his face. "For years," the man continued, "people said your name like a joke. Now we say it like hope." Silence swallowed the street. Ozzy speaks not as a star, but as a boy. Ozzy slowly stood. He turned to the crowd. His voice was weak, but real. "I hated this place," he admitted, "because it reminded me of everything I wasn't." People listened like it was church. "But now," he said, looking at the mural, "I see everything it gave me." He paused. "If you're a kid here right now," he continued, "and you feel stupid, or broken, or like the world forgot you," his voice broke, "I was you." A young boy in the crowd wiped his eyes. Ozzy pointed at him. "And if I made it out," he said, "so can you." No music, no stage, no lights, just truth. Chapter 8. The street after he left Ozzy stayed for hours. He talked, he listened, he hugged people who once ignored him. When he finally got back into the car, the street didn't feel small anymore. It felt powerful. As the car pulled away, Mrs. Hargreaves raised her hand in a slow wave. "You did good, Johnny," she whispered. Ozzy closed his eyes. For the first time, he believed it. If this story moved you, if you love Ozzy Osbourne, if his pain, his music, and his survival means something to you, subscribe to Voices of Darkness right now. Like this video, share it with your friends. Help us reach our 1,000 subscribers target. This is how you prove your love. Comment below, "Ozzy forever" if his story lives in your soul. Because legends don't come from comfort. They rise from darkness. This is Voices of Darkness.